Good afternoon, everyone. Surprise! It's your girl Manina here with a special edition of the Legacy Book Bar Sip and Chat. Now, I know most of you normally see me Friday nights at 9, but today we have a super special guest here with us. We have no other than critically acclaimed author A.C Arthur with us, talking with us today. Welcome to the Sip and Chat.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So I have been following you going on 10 years. So let me tell you how. Go back 10 years. You were at an author event here in Baltimore at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum. Mm-hmm. It was you, Beverly Jenkins, Iris Bowling, and Michelle Moncu.
Yep.
When I tell you, I was so excited. I was like, I read all of these ladies. Like, what do you mean? First, I was super excited because I was like, oh my gosh, it's Beverly Jenkins. I've been reading her since I was 15. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, wait, who are these other ladies? Let me go get their books. And I just went and had a whole moment, dragged my mom with me. Super excited. When I tell you, that was probably my first ever like book signing, book event I had ever been to. I was like, they're going to sign our books? They're going to talk about our books? Are you serious right now? Probably why I said I have to get a bookstore because why
not?
Why not? They do these type of things.
Like, yeah, that was a really fun event.
That so was. So I have literally been following you ladies since then. And so excited that I've been able to read your stories, Michelle's, Iris, of course, Beverly Jenkins. Beverly Jenkins will actually be here in a couple of weeks. So I'm super excited that you ladies have just taken the time to really support the smaller independent bookstores. Like, super great. So
definitely. And that's the only way to keep you alive. To keep our stories flowing, to keep us relevant, is just to put the support out there. We have to support each other.
Absolutely. I know for me, with me starting Legacy Book Bar was when I was about 14 or 15. I remember my mom gave me my first ever Black romance. It was Frances Ray, Brenda Jackson, Rochelle Ayers, and I was like, where these people look like me on these books? What is this? So I'm a fast reader, so I just blew through the books, and I was like, every Saturday, my girls' day with my mom was we would go. This is back when malls actually had bookstores, and I couldn't wait to go. And I was like, well, we got to find more. Like, they have to have more books, so let's go find them. Right. So I went, and I was like, I'm still a kid. I'm, like I said, 14, 15. In my mind, I'm reading a romance novel. Doesn't matter if they should be Black or white. They're a romance. Yeah, so I'm in the romance section. I'm like alphabetized. I'm looking for the letters. And I'm like,
and we weren't there.
Where are they? What is this? Right. I don't compute this information. Right. What is this? And I go to the sales clerk and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for, and I'm giving out names. And they're like, oh, they should be in romance. And I'm like, but not.
But not.
Name to you. What are you talking about? And they were like, oh, they're in the back. I'm like, oh, is it another romance section? Like, what do you mean? Oh, that's under urban lit.
Yep.
I said, no, these are romance novels. What are you talking about? Now, this was before urban literature, or street lit is what they call it now, is what it is now.
Right.
So all Black authors, and you're talking, this had to be 93, 94-ish. Anybody Black that wrote a story was just
had to be
thrown in under urban. And I'm like, no, just like it's poetry, just like it's crime fiction, white authors were put in their respective categories of what they wrote in. Unfortunately for Black authors, that was not the case.
We just all get thrown in the same basket.
And I was like, what? And I'm, a very literal person. I'm like, you have to make this make sense. And this does not make sense to me. And why not? And they couldn't give me an answer that made sense.
But the good thing is you were actually looking for those books. So imagine the Black reader who did not already know that these books, these romance books with people who looked like us, were even available. For years, I read Nora Roberts and I read Danielle Steele. And because that's what I was introduced to, my mother was a member of the Doubleday Book Club. And so they would come every month. And so that's what I started reading. And for years, that's all I knew was available. But then just like you, when I learned, oh, we have these Black people on books. And so where are these books? But you did have to go into the bookstore and ask for them, because if you just went to the romance section, you were never going to find the Black people. You're only going to find the books with the white, by the white authors with the white characters.
And I couldn't. That bothered me and this is just me as a reader, so I can imagine how the authors felt not being where they were supposed to be. Blooming. So fast forward to when I said, okay, I'm going to turn 40 soon. What am I going to do with my life? I know I don't want to work for someone else for the rest of my life. So what are you going to do? And I played around with, maybe I should open up. I wanted like old school, like Harlem Nights, like supper club kind of feel. I was like, I've worked in restaurants all my life. So that was kind of just a natural progression for me. And then I was like, Baltimore has enough restaurants, enough nightclubs. First off, I'm not trying to pay that cost for no liquor license. Like I had so many thoughts in my mind. But then every time I'm up late, what are you doing? I'm reading, either paperback, hardback, on my tablet. I'm reading, and then something just clicked and was like, "Well, what about a bookstore?" And I was like, "Do people?"
Baltimore definitely does not have enough of those.
Absolutely. So after probably 8 months of could you, should you, what do you need? I was like, I think I can actually do this. And here we are almost 2 years later. And, Legacy BookBar is doing some great things. I got you here. So it's like, yes, we are doing it.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you. And, I always said, as I was researching the bookstore, coming to find out, I really wanted to work with, of course, Black authors. Like that's completely all through the bookstore. Like this is a store for them. Like no more in the back of the store in shelves and sections that they don't belong in. Like this store is strictly for them. And then I took it a step further. It's like, I really want to cater to the self-published ones. Now, people that automatically think self-published, they think, their books aren't edited. They don't have proper, a great cover. Like what? But they take the same amount of time, the same amount of resources that the traditionally published authors do, but they're just paying for it all out of pocket. To me, that seems to be the big difference between the two. Right or wrong?
That is a big, yeah. I'll say that is a big difference between the two. I do think that, like when I first started, urban lit and street lit were just becoming really mainstream at that time too. And so I do remember going to events and being at events with them. And at first I was only traditionally published. But that was a lot of the conversation was, okay, no, the difference is, the self-published books aren't edited as well. And they don't have as good of covers. And so that was an issue in the beginning. And I think that stigma has kind of stuck, unfortunately. However, I do think that the majority of self-published authors are doing all the things They're paying for professional editors. They're paying for professional cover designers. And like you said, they're paying for all of this out of pocket. And I keep saying they, but I'm a hybrid author. And so I publish traditionally and I also self-publish. So I know what it's like to pay the professional editors and pay for the book covers and pay for the proofreaders and then paying for the books. Because the one downside to self-publishing is you're not as broadly distributed as you are if you are with a traditional publisher. But even saying that, there are traditionally published books that are poorly edited. Believe me, because I've read them. There are traditionally published books that are poorly edited. And I'm like, whose hands did this get through to get where it is? So that's not just a self-published issue. That's just an overall, this was just poorly edited. And maybe it'll get a better edit the next go around. So I don't appreciate when I hear, oh, all self-published books are poorly edited, because I know that that's not the case. I know that that's not true. We do put out money to pay professional editors, which is not cheap. I will say, it's not cheap. And so when people are always going back and forth about, oh, you're charging too much for this book, you're charging too much for this, and I'm like, you have no idea how much money we're putting out to even get this book to you. The thought is, oh, it's simple to just put this book up on Amazon and it's for sale. And really, it's not. It's not. We're incurring a lot of costs to get that book on Amazon. And that's in addition to the time that we're taking to write the book, research the book, all of that craft stuff. There's a lot of administrative expense that authors are putting out to get that book out as well.
So I told you earlier, I just, as a bookstore owner, just got into the literary world on the back end, a little over, probably going on 3 years now. The store itself will hit 2 years in November. And I never knew how much went into cover to cover of getting a story out. It really gives me more of appreciation on what an author has to go through just to get the story out. I commend everyone that is able to creatively put a book out and then deal with the finances and the administrative process and then the reviews once the book comes out. I would be a basket case if I had to do all of that. That is beyond crazy.
It's a lot.
Oh my God.
It's a lot. I try to I don't say I don't read reviews, because I do read reviews. And I read them for a couple reasons. I like to know what people thought of the story. I think that constructive criticism is always welcome. Sometimes, I can't dictate how somebody's going to write a review, but I do read the reviews, and I do appreciate, sometimes there are little pieces in a review that will stick with me. And then when I start writing the next book, I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, let me not do this. Or this is something that was brought up before, so let me keep this in mind. Or not to the extent of let me change my story or change the idea that I have. But sometimes there are little pieces in there that I think are constructive enough that I can think about it. If this is something that I can implement. A lot of times I'm very, very solitary. Writing is a very solitary task. I know there are some writers who use beta readers to look at their stuff before they go out. I'm extremely solitary. I write the story, I write the second draft, and then it goes to the editor. I don't generally have readers. It goes to the editor, and then we're in the editing process. So when I look at a review, if there's something there that's, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, but if there's something there that it's like I can think about it later. So there was one with the Donovan series, because there's so many books in that series. Sometimes I'll see comments in the reviews like, oh, I didn't really need to hear a recap of every other person in the family. I just wanted to read about these the main two characters. But then I'll also hear, oh, it was so great to get a glimpse of a catch up to what's happening with everybody else. And so, but I hear both of those things. And so when I write the next Donovan book, I'm always very cognizant of the fact that, okay, let's not go through everybody. Let's not give a recap of everybody. But the characters that connect directly to this particular story, sure, they're going to get a recap. Trent Donovan is everywhere. He's in and out of all of the Donovan books.
Yeah, so, I'm going to say he was he had his main story, but he was legit
first of all, Trent I had to give Trent 2 stories. And Trent is still everywhere. He's in
every book almost.
He's in all of the books. He's in the Donovan Friend books because he's a very, very big presence in this family. And so I do give a little catch up with what's going on with him, his wife, his kids, just because I'm not going to mention him and not say, from where he came, how far he's come, because he has come a long way. Trent needed a lot of work. We did a lot. He needed a lot of work. And so now I think he's in a pretty good place right now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean he can't mess up again. And then we have to start trying to fix him up again. And so I think that going back to the reviews is that I wouldn't think about those things had I not seen the comments in reviews. Now, reviews can be really bad. They can really suck. And people can say some really, really hurtful things. And that is hard. That's hard for an author to get through. I don't talk about reviews online, but believe you me, I vent enough in my house. People in my house have heard me saying some things about reviews, and I think that's a natural process. I think that whenever you put something, any creative, whenever you put your art out into the world, you're opening the door to all types of criticism, and we really can't police what the criticism is going to be. We can't really expect it to all be compliments 24/7. I don't think anybody gets that. That would equate to being perfect, and that is not I. So I just try to take it as what it is, have my moment to be angry about it, and then move on to the next thing. I'm not fighting with people over it. Your opinion is your opinion, and my story is my story. So that's where we are with that. We agree to disagree.
I just, one thing I have noticed more so because I've ventured into the literary world, I wish when people leave reviews, they didn't make it so personable. Like, you cannot like the book and detail why you don't like the book. I don't like when your review is that verbal attack to the author.
Right.
And that's like, now, because me as the reader, if I'm coming into this new book, I can't tell if you don't like the book or you don't like the author. So now I'm confused. Like, so
and
is the book bad or good? I don't know what to do now.
But if you don't like the author, then don't read the author's book. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't.
Yes.
Why pick up a book? Sometimes I'll read some reviews for other books and it'll be like, I'm really not a fan of this author, but somebody said, try this book. But you were going into this knowing that you did not like this author and either this author or this author's work. So you knew you didn't like it. And then you proceed to give a really, really bad personal review. And it's like, dude, why did you even pick this book up? Right. Like, I don't need this added stress.
The word no, but like, you know what? I'm not a big fan of this. Right. So I'll pass. But as long as you like it, you're reading.
Exactly. Great. Exactly. Like, there are lots of books. There are lots of authors that, and I'm not going to say I don't like this author or that author is not for me. I'll say that there are a lot of authors whose tone in their books does not grab me. That does not mean that it's not great for you. It's not my cup of tea. And it's fine for me to say this is not my cup of tea. What's not fine is for me to review this author's books and write, this is not my cup of tea, because I already knew that. I already knew I didn't like this. So, why even do that? And I'm not really into dragging anybody down. Look, my grandmother used to say all the time, it's somebody for everybody. It's a book for everybody.
It's a book for everybody. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the amount of work that's coming from Black authors, you could go every day of the year and have a new book.
Absolutely.
And you are not missing out on anything. So, you know, if you want to say no to one, there is one literally right behind it. And it's okay.
And it's okay.
I know I went to event here. What year is 2020? This is right before COVID started. So crazy. I hit publish on the online bookstore February 1st. Went to my very first public event. COVID happened March. It's crazy 2020 year. And I'm just going through, I'm stopping at every table. I'm introducing myself. I'm buying books from everybody. And as I'm going, you hear, was your book public? Was your book edited? And like the disgust in their voice. I'm like, the flyer legit says Black authors, self-published. Like legit, that's what the flyer said. Why are you so angry? Like, I'm sitting here like I'm in awe with the amount of Black authors that was presented at this event. I'm just I had to remember that I was there as a bookstore owner and not as a reader, because I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all these authors. Like, where do they come from? How have I never seen these authors anywhere? Like, where have they been? And like, you come in here with absolute disgust. Like, please don't bring down my high. Please leave. Like, I'm having a ball here. And I'm like, if you don't want to read a self-published author,
then don't.
Then don't. Go to Barnes & Noble.
But don't make an assumption, and don't verbally attack them without knowing.
Exactly. Now, I personally,
are you going to buy the book or not? Basically, you know, it's really hard. Sometimes I'll be at writing events and people will come to the table to buy your book, and people say the oddest things. And sometimes in my mind, I'm like, okay, look, you really can't say this to people. You really can't say, are you going to buy this book or not? Like, and I really have to make a concerted effort to not say that, because people come to you and they just say the weirdest things. And it's like, why are you saying this to me? Like, you can leave this table. I'm going to be okay. Bless the Lord. I'm going to still be able to eat if you walk away and don't buy this book. But I don't know why people feel so free to say whatever they want to say now.
I feel like it's the world of social media, and everyone can be a keyboard gangster, and they're so used to being able to say whatever they want to say that when they now get in front of people, they just forget they're not in front of a screen. I've had the same thing. I've had people say, oh my gosh, I love the fact, oh, it's a bookstore in the mall. Oh, this is so great. And they ask for the price of the book. Now, keep in mind, I do not set the price of the book. The authors, if they're self-published, or the publishers set the price of the book. I sell the book based off of what they tell me the book is for. Disclaimer. Some people, for some reason, don't understand this logic, but this is what it is. And I've heard them say, oh, I'm going to see how much it is on Amazon. Okay, well.
The discount can.
Right. And I'm like, but you do know it's the same price on Amazon, and you're going to have to pay for shipping. You're here in the store, you can just buy the book and go home. I even have cute little bags that they go in. Like, I'm like, it's the same amount, but hey, you know, I'm just a small independent bookstore. Jeff Bezos is a billionaire. You want to continue to give him money, feel free, but you can't say, oh, there's no Black business in the community.
Right.
Oh, but, they are.
I think that you have a right to make the decision you want to make. And if you feel like this book is going to be cheaper at Amazon, that's fine. Then buy that at Amazon. I mean, I know we've been in Walmart and we'll look at a movie that just came out just recently. My daughter, she loves Supernatural, so she buys all the seasons of Supernatural. And so the last season, they had it in Walmart, and it was like $39.99. And she immediately, because she is the Amazon queen, she immediately pulls up Amazon's like, oh, let me see if this is cheaper on Amazon. And it was $29.99. So she ordered it from Amazon. You absolutely have the right to make that choice. You do. But what she was not going to do was go up to the counter at Walmart and say, I'm going to buy this cheaper at Amazon, because that's not necessary. It's not necessary. Make your choice. And her choice was to get it cheaper because we're all trying to save $1. So that's fine. You're going to get it cheaper there, but you don't need to announce that. You don't need to come up to my table and say, I'm going to get this book cheaper somewhere else. Right. Like, we know stuff is cheaper on Amazon. You don't really have to tell me that. You do not have to tell me that.
And I was baffled. Like, is this real life? This is what we... And my daughter who's with me, so my daughter's with me at all my vendor events because, you know, I'm trying to show her, you know, the entrepreneurial spirit and, you know, selling books and how to talk to people. And she was like, I think that was rude.
Yes.
I was like, a little bit. She was like, well, she was so upset. And I was like, it's okay. I was like, you know, I won't fight them. But once I explained, like, so you just gonna keep giving Jeff Bezos more money and you can't support. They walked away and then came back and was like, you know what? I think whoever they were with when they relayed the story to them, he was like, yo, you idiot! Why would you tell them? And then they felt bad. It kind of was guilted, and they came back. You can still purchase the book. I'm not gonna stop the sale, but did you think that made sense when you said it? And like, really, people, it's nuts. We actually have a couple of comments today. Thank you so much we have author Javonda Robinson now. Javonda is a legacy author. Her book is actually in the store. She is actually published through the self-publishing company I was telling you about earlier, Divine Legacy Publishing. And she first said, hey, and then she said, this is when we're talking about how people kind of thumb their noses up at self-published authors. And she says it has. As soon as I say self-published, people turn their noses up until they see and or read my novels. Her novels are fire. But if she didn't say, oh, I was self-published author, you just read the book, they would read it with no problem.
Right.
But it's the whole facial, it's like, self-published. I mean, but her book actually came from a publishing company. But their flair is that they help the author become self-published. Like the author still does everything, but it kind of takes that sting of the stigma away by saying they were published under a publishing company, but they still have all their rights to their books.
Right.
But as a reader, like, if you're not going to do the research, if you just read the book, just read it.
That's the thing. I don't think that you need to have all of this back information. Like if you if you meet an author at an event, and you go to their table and you are really just interested in their book, then just be interested in their book. I don't know that you have to ask, is this self-published or is this traditionally published? Because first of all, generally the readers that come into the table, they don't necessarily know the difference. They don't know all of the differences between being traditionally published and being self-published. What they know is, like I said, the unfortunate stigma of self-published author relating to an unedited book. And that stigma is so old. It's about 15, 20 years old. Like, do you not know that things have evolved since then? Right. And it's unfair to just go and assume that this is going to be a poorly edited book. Because like I said before, there are poorly edited, traditionally published books. Let's be real clear about that. There are poorly edited, traditionally published books. And so I just think it's unfair for any reader to approach an author and say, is this self-published or that's a really personal question, and stop asking me that. You're gonna buy the book or what? Like, clearly you can't say that at the table because we want the sale, but it's basically that's it. Like, this is a good story, and do you want to read the story or not? On the flip side of that, I do get that it's hard to read poorly edited books. It is. That's just a basic fact. It is. It's not impossible, but it's hard. But I don't think that you need this whole disclaimer from every single author every time. Oh, and I paid, $5,500 to have my book edited. So yeah, please buy my book. I don't think we need to do that every time.
And even before I became a bookstore owner, it would have never crossed my mind to say, is your book self-published? That would have never crossed my mind as the question. Now, as a reader, my go-to genre is romance. So if anything, I'm trying to find all the authors that write under romance. If it's paranormal, anything, that's the table I'm looking for. And then I'll go see everybody else once I make sure I got all of their books. I'm going to do that first as a reader. If I pick up the book, I like the cover, I read the back. If it grabs me, I'm just going to buy the book. I would have never thought to ask all of the extra questions. I don't care.
Right.
I want to read the book. I have a pillow, I have a glass of wine that goes with your book. Where is my book? That's what you, as a reader, that should just be, is it my favorite genre? Does the back of the book, the synopsis get me? A and B? All right, let's go. How much? All right, cash or card? Which would do you take? Cash App, Apple Pay? That should be your follow-up questions. Nothing else should even matter. And it's unfortunate that self-published authors have to go through a whole book report just to get someone to purchase the book. And that's actually what Javonda says.
What I will say is, speaking as an author who is, like I said, a hybrid author, doing traditional and self-published, what I will say is it is still very, very important for a self-published author to put forth 125%. And I say 125 because if you Black, you got to do better. We always have to do it. We always have to be better. And so I'm saying 125%. It's very important that you put forth 125% effort in the book that you put out. And that means, yes, look, pay attention to your book cover. Pay attention to your book cover, because a lot of times, if people don't just know this author, a cover can grab you. A cover is very important. It can grab you, whether it's grabbing somebody from the table, it's grabbing from the bookshelf. A cover can grab you, and that can be the very first impression a reader has of your book. Pay attention to your cover. Some people feel like they can design an okay cover. You can design an okay cover. That's fine. Some people can have that talent as well as being able to write. That's fine. Do some research on that and make sure that your design is comparable to whatever else is out. Look at traditionally published covers, because what you want to know is you want to know what sells. You want to know what's selling. And sometimes that's hard as a creative to say, do you want to do? Because you are trying to, and you want to know what's.
Oh, I think you froze on us. Please hold. AC, are you there still? Oh. So I think we're having some slight technical difficulties. AC, it looks like she's still there, but just a little frozen. So just bear with us. This is not our normal day. So just give it a second. I just do want to say thank you for A.C. Arthur for being here, dropping some huge, huge nuggets here about self-publishing and traditional publishing. I love the fact that she was able to give Legacy BookBar this time with us this afternoon. We're going to have her on if she can get unfrozen. We'll have her for a little bit longer. And then, everyone can proceed with our afternoon. But just again, if we don't get her back, we do just want to say thank you so much for the information that she is giving us today. So hopefully she will come back. Almost there. So we'll just give her a few minutes. Please make sure that you are sharing the broadcast on your pages. Please tell a friend about Legacy BookBar. It is an online bookstore that caters to Black self-published authors in all genres. So, of course, we have romance, we have paranormal, we have urban fiction, we have poetry, we have children, we have all of the genres. We are looking for some Black comics, so be on the lookout. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have some great Black comics for you guys to look through. Legacy BookBar is, of course, my pride and joy outside of my husband and my kids. I just love meeting new people. I love reading new stories. So again, please make sure to share the broadcast. We are going live on YouTube and Facebook today. Make sure that you would like all of our social media pages. We have Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube and Twitter. Again, we have some amazing books. As soon as AC, there she goes. She's back again. So, again, just thank you all for participating here with us. AC will get her signal up and running in a few. If you're watching, please throw some comments in the chat if you have any direct questions, either for myself or, of course, for our special guest, A.C. Arthur. We love to hear from you. Javonda, thank you so much for your comments today. Thank you so much. Of course, if you are looking for A.C. Arthur's book, we were actually talking about her book, Temptation Rising on our book club chat. Her book, as well as Javonda Robinson's book, is on our website right now. And today you can get 10% off when you use the shop code Sip and Chat. So make sure you share with your friends, share with your families. You want to make sure that you get that 10% off. If you saw earlier today, I posted a bundle. So if you love adult coloring books, we have a special on 2 for $20. So you can get 2 of our coloring books by author Indy Jones for a limited time only. You can get them for $20 for a bundle pack. We had the first order go out the other day, and I just got the text and email that they have already received their books and their kids are already coloring in their books as we speak. So you want to make sure that you get them as soon as possible while they last. So don't forget. Give me 2 seconds. I'm still here. So just trying to get AC to come back so we can finish out her broadcast. Guys, thank you so much for being patient here with us. She should be back shortly. Again, I'm not going to keep you guys here long. This was just a special edition here with A.C. Arthur. Again, she has some fire books. Hopefully, crossing fingers, I will be able to get her entire catalog in the store. The very first series I read of her was the Donovan series, and my crazy self, I've read her series backwards. So I read Dane and Rourke and realized it was so much more that I was missing. Then I went backwards and I got caught up, and this was actually a 15-book series. So the one good thing about COVID was I got caught up on all of the reading I had on my TBR list, and I was able to get caught up. And then now we are going into her Shadow Shifter storyline, and we'll be able to get that read. So if you love if you love paranormal, that is definitely a series to read. It looks like AC might not be able to come back. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm so sorry. So looks like she's having some trouble getting back into StreamYard. We were almost finished her broadcast if she can't get back in. Hopefully we'll be able to see her in some more events that Legacy is hosting. So just keep us in mind. Make sure you're going to the website. It is scrolling at the bottom of the page at www.legacybookbar.com. Yeah, she's having a hard time getting back into StreamYard today, guys. So it's totally okay. I do want to say, because she was so gracious, if you just look at all the accolades that A.C Arthur has under her belt, she is local here in Maryland, and I am just so thankful that she was able to take this time out with us and join us. That I actually have a gift for her that I already told her she was going to see today, and it will be mailed out to her on Monday. So for our book club discussion today, we were going to talk about her paranormal romance, Temptation Rising. It's, I think, a 6-book, maybe 7-book series. And I'm a huge fan of paranormal romance. So as a gift to her, I'm actually going to send her one of Legacy's paranormal series. So I'm actually going to send to her A Queen's Pride and then book 2, Moth That Claws. This is a fire series that Legacy has authored by Indy Jones. So these 2 books are going to go out to her today. Again, if you yourself want to purchase a paranormal romance and you want to try out A Queen's Pride and Moth That Claws, again, use the shop code Sip and Chat, get 10% off. Those books will come to you. Again, I want to thank you all for being here with me on this fabulous Saturday afternoon. Please, please keep in mind, COVID is still out there, people. The whole variant that's out, this Delta variant is running rapid. Numbers are going up. So please be safe where you're out there, when you're going to book events. If you're hosting a book event, just please be safe. Coming up soon on the next few episodes, we got some more authors lined up. We actually get to have Beverly Jenkins in September. She is going to go live on the Sip and Chat with us. Super excited about that. We'll be talking about her literary journey and then a few of her books. You know, she has well over 30 under her belt, so we'll be able to talk to her. Again, don't forget that Be Bold, Be Heard campaign is still out there. So if you are a Black author and you want to talk about your journey and your story, please feel free to contact us at legacybookbar@gmail.com. Get on the schedule and we can talk about your book. You know, we're here every Friday night at 9 o'clock. We have 2 big things popping up, as you know. If you've seen the Legacy Continues, when school starts, if you are a parent of a school-age child, we have a book subscription starting. So you can sign up and your little one or little ones can get up to 2 to 3 books sent to them personally by Legacy Book Bar, and they get to read to their heart's content. We are super excited about this book subscription that is coming. More details are coming. We are getting that up and running on the website. So as soon as it is ready to go live, I will come back here and let you know that it is live, and you can see all of the fabulous books that are under the book subscription. Our first in-person event is coming. Flyers should be coming out next week. So if you are a book vendor, a book author, and you want to do a vendor table at our 2-day event, just be aware that it is coming. Tables are still available. You'll be able to come. Hopefully A.C Arthur will be there. We're going to try to work that schedule out, and hopefully she'll drop some more nuggets, as well as some of the other fabulous authors that are already on the docket to show up. So Halloweenish weekend, where do you want to be? You're going to want to be here with me in Baltimore. And you are going to want to meet and greet some of the best authors that Legacy has, best authors that are around the world. And guess what? They're all Black. Fire explosions, right? It was so great. That's the best I could do. But you guys got me, right? So again, flyers are coming soon. You should have them by next week. Keep us in mind. Share the broadcast. A.C Arthur, again, thank you so much for being here this afternoon, for taking this time out with a small independent bookstore. I graciously am just so thankful for you being here. Your gifts will be mailed out to you next week. You should have them. You guys have a great, great afternoon. I will catch you guys on another edition of the Legacy Book Bar Sip and Chat. You guys have a nice one and you stay safe.